Thinking about your website and wondering, should I just hire someone to do this for me? If you're a service-based business owner stuck between DIY or designer trying to figure out what makes the most sense right now, you're not alone. It's a smart question, but here's the thing. The answer isn't as simple as most people make it sound. So let's break it down together. I'll walk you through when hiring a pro makes sense, when it doesn't, and how to make the best choice for where you are in your business right now. But first, let me share what strategic DIY can actually do and why the right answer changes depending on where you are in your business. I worked with Lauren, a realtor, who had already tried building her site on her own. And like a lot of people, she got stuck. It looked fine, but it was pretty generic. It didn't help her stand out or connect with the clients she really wanted. It didn't sound like her, and she cringed when someone asked for the link. When she came to me, we worked together to get clear on her strategy, what made her different, how to talk about it, and how to position herself. Then I guided her through putting those lessons to action on her site. And it worked. Her business grew steadily over the next couple of years. Then, when she was ready to rebrand and move into a higher-end market, outsourcing made sense. And because she'd spent that time getting clear on her messaging and testing her audience, the team that she hired had so much to work with. Same person, different seasons of business, different approaches, and both were the exactly right choice at the right time. That's what I want to help you figure out today. Which approach makes sense for the season you're in right now? To help you understand that, I want to walk you through the 6 key roles that go into building a strategic website. Most people only think about the designer, but there's so much more happening behind the scenes. We're going to cover strategy, copy, design, SEO, and more, so you'll know exactly where you're at and what to prioritize first. The first role we're going to talk about is brand strategy. Now, this is the step that most people skip, and it's why so many websites fall flat. Your brand strategy defines who you are, who you serve, and what sets you apart, so that every design choice and every word on your site has a purpose. In my experience, the business owners who feel the most joy and alignment in their work usually start by building their offers around their skills, their strengths, their experiences, and their stories. And then we use market research to find the right people for those offers and figure out how to reach them through clear messaging and intentional design. This way, they're doing more of the work they love, and we're making decisions based on data, not just vibes or favorite colors. Here's the thing, both copywriters and designers often include some level of strategy in their process, especially at those higher price points, which is amazing when they're communicating with each other and working toward the same goal. But I've also seen projects where the designer and the copywriter were working separately, and you could tell. The design said one thing, the word said another, and the overall message got lost in translation. When strategy comes first and everyone's aligned around it, the end result is cohesive, clear, and so much more effective. The next role is brand design. This is things like your logo, your color palette, and your font choices. This is the part most people picture when they think of branding, that cute mood board with all your colors, fonts, and logo variations all lined up together. And yes, it's fun, but it should also be strategic. Your brand design should visually communicate what your business is all about. It's that immediate first impression when someone comes across your business. When done well, your brand design becomes the foundation for everything you create, not just your website, but your social media graphics, client guides, proposals, even your presentation decks or email signatures or thank you cards. It keeps everything consistent and recognizable, and that builds credibility for your business too. Here's where I see people get tripped up though. Brand design and website design are not the same thing. Your brand design gives you the visual ingredients, but your website design is the recipe. It uses those colors, fonts, and photos alongside your copy to create something compelling that walks your visitor through the customer journey. And yes, even buying a pre-made brand kit or templated logo from Etsy can work if you're clear on the strategy and what those visuals need to communicate. It's not about whether it's custom or DIY, it's about whether it aligns with your message and feels cohesive with the rest of your brand. The next role is copywriting. This is the part that connects and converts. Your copy is what draws your audience in and turns them into clients. It's not just about sounding good, it's about saying the right things in the right order so that visitors feel understood and ready to take action. Now, here's something that I've seen over and over again when I build websites for clients, especially when I'm just customizing a template. They often plan to write their own copy to either save time or to save money, but it always turns out to be a much bigger job than they expect. I'm not saying that you can't write your own website copy. It's absolutely possible, but it's just setting that expectation. Writing your own website copy isn't just filling in a few paragraphs. You need enough words and the right words to tell your story, build trust, and sell your services. Without that foundation, even the prettiest design won't perform the way you want it to. And honestly, this isn't unique to my clients. I hear other designers say the same thing all the time. Projects get delayed, not because of tech or design issues, but because clients are still trying to pull together even when you hire someone to build your site, there's still work you'll need to do as the business owner, providing clarity, direction, and those personal insights that only you can bring. The best designer in the world can make your site shine, but they can't create your story or strategy out of thin air. All right, our next role is design and development. Here's where we pull together all of those ingredients, your copy, your strategy, and your brand design to actually build your website. This is the person most small businesses contact first when they're ready for a website, though. But as you can see, there's a lot that comes before this step. Design and development make your message visual and interactive, guiding visitors from curiosity to confidence to conversion. A great layout supports that same journey, leading visitors naturally from their first impression to taking action. When you have clarity first, your design becomes not just pretty, but profitable. Our next role is SEO, or search engine optimization. Now, even the best design and copy won't do much if no one can find your site. SEO helps Google and even some of those ChatGPT, AI tools understand what your site is about and who it's for, so you show up in the right searches. It's the difference between having a beautiful storefront on a busy street versus a back alley. You want people to actually find you when they're looking for what you offer. It's how you turn visibility into opportunity and start getting warm leads straight from Google. And then finally, our last role that we're going to talk about today is ongoing maintenance and updates. This is the part that almost everyone forgets. Your website isn't just a one-and-done project. It's a living, evolving part of your marketing. Regular updates, blog posts, and small tweaks keep it fresh, secure, and performing well behind the scenes. A healthy website grows with your business. By the way, if you're starting to realize that your website might be missing some key pieces, I've got a whole video that breaks this down. I'll link it here and in the description so you can check it out too. That way you'll know exactly what gaps to fill before you even consider investing in a designer. So now that you've seen how many moving pieces go into a website, let's talk about when it actually does make sense to hire a designer. Once you understand those different roles that are involved, you can hire more strategically. Maybe you just need a designer, or maybe you need a full team. Maybe you need a branding designer instead of a website designer, just depending on your goals. Here's when hiring makes sense. First, you already have crystal clear messaging and positioning. You know exactly how to talk about your business and what sets you apart. Second, you've tested your offers, refined them, and you know what language converts. That means you're not just guessing and you have data to hand over. Third, you can give your team brand strategy, market research, and insight into your client journey. They'll be able to build something strategic instead of winging it. Fourth, you're ready to scale and free up your time. Outsourcing isn't just about pretty design, it's about reclaiming hours to focus on the work only you can do. If you're clear on your goals and you know which pieces you need help with, whether that's just design or a full team, hiring now can help you move faster. Or finally, fifth, you've got the budget to move fast and you need something launched now to test the market. You understand this might be version 1.0, something you'll refine or rebuild down the road once you have more data and clarity, and you're okay investing again later. For you, speed matters more than getting it perfect the first time. If that's you, awesome. Handing things over can be a total game changer. Remember Lauren that we talked about earlier? Here's what made her hiring investment so effective. By the time she was ready to rebrand, she'd spent 2 years really refining her message, testing what resonated, and really understanding her market. She knew exactly who she wanted to serve and what they needed to hear. We got really dialed in on what set her apart in the market. She had been a teacher before real estate, and instead of hiding that or thinking it wasn't relevant, we leaned into it. Her whole message became about educating clients through the process, making sure they actually understood what was happening at every step, not just signing papers they didn't fully get. She also drew from her own experiences buying, selling, and moving. She wasn't just selling houses. She got what her clients were going through because she had been there herself. So when she invested in a rebrand, the team she hired wasn't guessing. They pulled from the messaging she had already proven worked and elevated it to speak to that higher-end audience. Then they elevated the visuals to match the caliber of clients she was going after now. She didn't have to start from scratch or hope they'd figure out her positioning. She handed them a foundation that already worked, and they helped her scale it up. That's what outsourcing looks like when the timing is right. And again, this is the same person who'd successfully DIY'd a couple years earlier. The difference, the season of business she was in. That's the dream scenario, and it's only possible when you have that foundation built first. But here's where I've seen things go wrong. I worked with a photographer who came to me after investing thousands in a done-for-you site. Gorgeous visuals, professional copy, the whole package, but it wasn't converting. The site looked stunning, the design was on point, the copy sounded great, but it wasn't bringing in the clients she actually wanted to work with. Here's what happened. She hired before she was 100% clear on her goals. She knew she wanted to book more clients, but she hadn't quite figured out which clients or which services she wanted to focus on. And when you're not clear, the designer and copywriter, no matter how talented they are, have to fill in the blanks. They make their best educated guess based on what you've told them, and sometimes that guess doesn't quite hit the mark. The result was a site that looked polished and professional, but didn't actually convert with her dream clients. This is the trap of hiring too soon. You end up outsourcing decisions you haven't fully made yet. And when your clarity shifts, which it does as you grow, that expensive new website no longer serves you. It's not that the work was bad, it's that the foundation wasn't there yet. And that's why for many business owners, starting with DIY isn't just practical, it's super powerful. It gives you the space to experiment, to understand what works for your audience, and to build confidence in your own message and design. This is where DIY becomes so much more than just saving money. It's about building the foundation your business needs to grow. When you DIY, you start to see the bigger picture of how your brand, website, and marketing all connect. You're not just learning design, you're learning strategy. Lauren had already tried building a website on her own before we worked together, and she ended up with something that felt very generic, didn't make her stand out, didn't sound like her, or help people know that she was the right realtor for them. Does that sound familiar? That's what happens when you DIY without a framework. You end up with something that exists, but doesn't actually do anything for your business. But when she had the right strategy and roadmap, understanding how to position herself, how to talk about what made her different, and how to structure her site to actually convert, she built something that worked. And here's the key. She did the work. I gave her the framework and guided her through the process, but she's the one who showed up, made the decisions, and built the site. That's why she owned that message so confidently, because she created it. That clarity didn't just live on her website. It showed up in her social media, her client conversations, everywhere. And that's what made her business grow. When you DIY, here's what you get. You build your messaging muscle. Writing your own copy forces you to get crystal clear on what you do, who you serve, and why it matters. You learn how your clients actually think, search, and buy. This kind of insight is priceless for every part of your marketing. You stay agile. Instead of dropping money on a designer every time your offer shifts, you can tweak, pivot, and evolve without the stress. You create a site that reflects your current clarity and grows as you do. Your business doesn't stay static, and your website shouldn't either. Think of DIY like cooking from a great recipe. You've got high-quality ingredients, clear instructions, and the full control over the flavor. That's the power of doing it yourself the right way. When you follow proven frameworks and systems, you're building a foundation you can actually stand on. In my free training, From Overlooked to Fully Booked, I break down the exact framework: strategy, site design, and showing up. These 3 pieces work together to create a site that doesn't just look professional, it actually books clients while you sleep. I'll walk you through all 3, plus show you how to avoid the biggest mistakes most DIYers make. I'll share more on that in just a minute. But first, let's take a look at how DIY and done-for-you sites really compare, because I want to be honest with you about both. With DIY, you get full control. You can update anytime, pivot when your offers change, and you're never stuck waiting on someone else's timeline. But here's something people don't talk about enough. When you DIY your website, you get so much better at talking about what you do. Whether you're on social media, writing an email, or having a conversation at a networking event, you'll have this clarity about your messaging, your brand, your offers that makes everything so much easier. Suddenly, you're not stumbling over how to describe your services. You know exactly what to say, and that makes it so much easier to book clients and show up consistently everywhere else. These marketing skills help you long-term, understanding what messaging works, what your clients respond to, all of that. The trade-off, it takes your time. There's a learning curve, and you're the one doing the work. Now, done for you, when the timing is right, can be amazing. It takes way less of your time. You hand it off, they handle it, and you can focus on serving clients or growing other parts of your business. You get expert design and copy and a polished result. One thing to note, though, is that good designers are often booked months out. So even though it's less of your time, you might be waiting longer than you expect to actually launch. And it's expensive. Thousands, sometimes tens of thousands. Plus, and this is a big one, if you're not clear on your strategy yet, even the best designer can't read your mind. They have to guess, and that's when you end up with something beautiful that doesn't actually work for your business. Neither one is right or wrong, it just depends on where you are. If you're still figuring out your messaging, testing your offers, DIY gives you that room to learn and grow. If you're already clear and established, hiring can help you scale up without taking your time away from revenue-generating work. The key is knowing which season you're in right now. Now, if you're thinking, yeah, I tried DIY before and it looked like a Pinterest fail, not a professional website. I totally get it. I've been there too. What changed everything for me was learning the systems and frameworks behind great design, understanding why certain things work. Once I had that, everything about DIYing got easier, faster, and actually fun. And here's what I know now. A DIY website doesn't have to look amateur either. When you build it with strategy, it can look every bit as professional as a custom design. Some of the best performing websites I've seen weren't built by big design agencies, they were built by business owners themselves. When you understand your audience and strategy, your website becomes way more effective than something that just looks good. With the right structure, visuals, and copy, your website can speak directly to your dream clients and do the heavy lifting for you, selling your services, booking leads, and showcasing your expertise while you focus on what you do best. That's what I teach my students to do. Create a website that not only looks legit, but actually converts. Because when strategy leads the design, it doesn't matter if it's DIY or done for you, it works. Now, if you're hesitating because you think, I'm just not techie enough to build a website, here is the good news. We've come so far with website development. The platforms available now, nothing like they used to be. We're talking no-code, drag-and-drop builders like Showit that are visual and intuitive. You're not messing with complicated back-end stuff. I've had clients tell me I can barely figure out how to attach a PDF to an email, and they've built beautiful, functional websites. If you can move things around in Canva or create an Instagram story, you can absolutely do this. The tech isn't the hard part anymore. The strategy is, and that's exactly what I teach. Your website is often the first impression someone gets of your business, and it should be so much more than an online brochure. Whether you DIY it or hire it out, it should tell your story, attract the right clients, and work for you behind the scenes, even while you're focused on everything else that keeps your business running. If you want that kind of clarity and direction, that's exactly what I walk you through in my free training, From Overlooked to Fully Booked. It's the same roadmap I use with my students, the ones who want a website that doesn't just look pretty, but actually books dream clients on repeat, even when you're off the clock. You'll walk away knowing the 3 key elements your site needs to convert, plus how to avoid the biggest mistakes most DIYers make. Click the link in the description below to watch the free class, and let's get your website working for you. If you've been waiting for a sign to finally make your website work for you, this is it. You don't have to keep guessing, you just need the right strategy.